As an artisan who handcrafts beautiful products for everyday living, it was only natural that I wanted a handcrafted medicine drum rather than buying one that's manufactured. I do have a frame drum that was manufactured and it's just lacking the essence of a handcrafted drum. So I sought out to actually do this under the guidance of someone who is not only experienced, but someone who actually values the depth and the connection to pieces. And so I handcrafted a drum a few weeks ago under the guidance of Bastian McPhee. And it was such a beautiful experience. I had no idea what would go into the ceremonial element and process of this drum making journey. It was more than just a workshop. Even before the actual day of making, being sent options of the size, shape, number of sides on the drum, I thought that in itself was beautiful, that I actually got to choose the drum that I felt called to work with as my first handcrafted drum. And then the day itself, going through not just making the how-to behind the construction of a drum, but the first hour or two we spent in ceremony actually talking through my life's journey and my ancestral roots and even drumming on her drums. We actually drummed and went into ceremony before even touching the skin or the timber of the frame. It was so beautiful. But then taking all of that and all that I had brought in to the experience through that ceremony and then transferring that into the actual crafting of the drum was, again, something I had no idea that I was signing up for, but intuitively knew that this was the kind of process that I wanted to go through when handcrafting a drum. I'd been following Bastian on Instagram for many years, and I saw her beautiful drums and how they were infused with the magic of her handcrafting skills and shamanism. However, I didn't actually know the process that I would go through when making the drum. If this drum could actually speak, you would learn so many stories about me through it that you wouldn't have known otherwise. And I feel that though all of that is infused into this drum now, it's a living being in itself. One of the beautiful elements that was revealed through the ceremonial practice was just how much uprooting I have experienced in my lifetime. And that has been my entire lifetime. And that has also formed who I am today. So I'm not saying that as a negative, but it is just something that when we really look at our life's journey and what we have been through and how it has shaped who we are in this moment, it can be unsettling to go back and revisit all of those things, but also can be really beautiful to realize that all of those challenges and upheavals and so-called bad things that happened have also shaped the person that I am today, and that's a beautiful thing. I love the life that I'm living today, and if it wasn't for all that I've been through, I may not be experiencing life as I am right now. And all of that is a part of this drum now. Music has always played a really important role in my life, even though it hasn't been a part of my profession. The actual sound of music playing in the background while I create has always been important. The practice of dancing and moving has been something I've loved since I was a child, and not necessarily something that I engaged in throughout most of my adult life. The same with singing and drumming. The beat of a drum just activates something inside of me. It connects with my heart and it feels like a remembering.
You like that, Benji?
Over the last few years, I've reignited that passion for music, and not just listening to music. I always have music playing in the background, and the type of music is important for me. It actually changes according to what I'm doing, and it shifts my mood and energy. But I'm actually going back to making music, and working with the drum is a part of that. Not necessarily because I want to perform for other people, but it's a part of my personal practice. And singing has become a big part of my personal practice too. I've been working through a course with the Brothers Corrin, which is called The Voice as a Healing Instrument, and it's using the whole body as an instrument, but the voice being what carries that resonance through the whole body. And having a drum accompany me in that practice is something that I am learning how to do, to sing and to drum at the same time. And that's been really beautiful. There's another course that the Brothers Corrin offered, which I've done recently, called Sing the Body Electric. And that's exactly how I feel. When I'm singing, dancing, beating on a drum, it just energizes and electrifies me. And so to have this handcrafted drum, which is infused with my ancestral story and roots and life's journey, that makes that whole experience even more magical. The process of crafting the drum was a journey in itself. Cutting out the circle to actually wrap around the drum to begin with. And then with the remainder of the skin, hand cutting one long length of lacing by hand, which was a journey in itself, and then using that to create the spokes at the back of the drum and threading it through. And what was interesting when I was doing that was even before I started threading actually, to create the spokes at the back of the drum using that lacing, I needed to count out the number of lengths that I would need. And there were times when the lacing would get into a knot, and it was fascinating to discover that as I was counting out the number of lengths, I would get to 13 and there would be a knot that the rest of the lacing had formed, and at that point I had to let go of the 13 lengths that I had counted to undo the knot. And this happened a few times. It happened at 13, it happened at 21, and then it happened again at 27. And Bastian asked me at that point, what happened when I was 13? What happened when I was 21? And what happened when I was 27 in terms of age? And all of those points were significant times in my life's journey where changes took place. So it was really interesting to have those things come through while I was making the drum itself. When I was tightening the lacing and working my way around the drum, I had some challenges tightening it, and Sebastian came over to help me, and she got to this final stretch and noticed that I had suddenly flipped the way that I had been threading through the lacing. And she said, okay, this is like the last 4 years. What's happened in the last 4 years? This is interesting. Now, the last 4 years, I've been through the biggest upheaval of my life, where my marriage of 24 years ended. I suddenly became a single mum. And over the last 4 years, I have sold the property that we called home. I have relocated. I let go of my commercial space, which was where I drew my main income stream came through that space. And then it has been quite the journey in the last 4 years. So it was interesting that I had flipped over the way that I was working through the lacing, threading through the lacing, and I changed directions. That's the wording that she used. It looks like you changed directions here. And my life's journey changed direction in the last 4 years. And it's actually come to a point now where I am operating in a very different way. I've always had plans and goals that I've worked towards, and working towards a bigger picture vision that is very clear, whereas now I am leaning more into my intuition, allowing that to guide me. Once my drum was dry enough, I added a feather talisman to it, placing it in the southern part of the drum. I handcrafted and sold drum embellishments through my commercial space as well as online, and have had others purchase them to add to their beautifully handcrafted drums. It is such a treat to finally be able to add one of these to my own handcrafted drum. This one feels like it was made for my drum and has been patiently waiting to find its home. Adding feathers to a medicine drum is believed to enhance its spiritual connection by symbolizing the element of air and the spirit of winged creatures. Feathers help carry the drum's sound and prayers to the spiritual realm, honoring the animal, serving as an intention-setting tool. The skin I chose to work with for the creation of this drum was the deer. The deer symbolizes gentleness, intuition, and grace. Across various traditions, it is a messenger of peace, reminding you to navigate life's challenges with compassion and quiet strength rather than force, which is perfect for where I'm at in my life's journey. The day of the ceremony, there was continual threat of rain, and Bastien offered for us to move indoors several times. But I was loving working outside in the elements. The threat of rain did not concern me at all. The beater handle was made from a branch off the beautiful big tree that my drum was handcrafted under. When back in my studio, I added a braided kangaroo leather feature to finish off the beater with a little extra special touch. The kangaroo represents the leap of faith and forward momentum, known for moving in one direction and relying on elastic energy. The kangaroo serves as a powerful guide, encouraging us to trust our instincts, take brave risks, and balance independence with community, which is also beautifully aligned with the current phase of my life's journey. So it's interesting to note that I first came across Bastien's work 3.5 years ago maybe, and have been following her journey all this time through social media, going along my own journey, wanting to actually handcraft a drum, looking to do it through other makers. The timing didn't align until now, and the timing of me handcrafting this drum actually feels quite perfect for where I'm at, what I'm working through now, the process that I am taking myself through in expanding and growing, becoming that empty nester now, and actually having the time to really focus on my own growth and expansion personally. Being single at 51 and relocating to a whole new area, not really knowing anyone in this area when I moved here. And it just so happens it wasn't too far away from Bastien's, where Bastien runs her workshops and ceremonies. So it was a lot easier for me to actually get to one of her ceremonies. So I feel like the timing was just perfect for me to be able to finally get to make my own drum, tying that in with my voice work that I'm doing and bringing music back into my everyday practice, and just moving forward in a way that enhances my aliveness and vitality. And the heartbeat is a big part of that, and the drum representing the heartbeat. I look forward to seeing where these new practices take me. I feel like that I'm going through this process of peeling away the layers I have been for the last 4 years, peeling away the layers of all the things that I've been carrying that are no longer in service, that I don't need to carry anymore. And now I get to just connect with that inner essence and let that be my outer expression. And working with the drum and my voice and movement and all of that is a part of this. And it all ties in beautifully with handcrafting and living a life infused with magic in the everyday living experience, surrounded by wild nature and the elements of wild nature, and having that infused into the handcrafted wares that not only what I wear, but also the things that I use to support me in this journey.